Hey guys, David Jennings here from flippingawesome.com, and excited today.
How are you, Dave?
Good, thank you, Luke. Thanks for taking the time. I know you're super busy over at Flipper. We wanted to ask you a few questions while I can.
Fire away.
The first one, there's been a little bit of banter around my office as to whether or not we think that you're like the Matt Cutts of
Matt
Flipper.
Cutts?
Yeah, you're kind of like the spokesperson.
Wow.
What is your role at Flipper? What do you do there?
Certainly being aligned with Matt Cutts is, well, you know, it's quite flattering. I guess I'm the marketing guy at Flipper. I do spend a lot of time answering questions and trying to we just communicate with buyers and sellers, and subsequently you've probably seen me out in a lot of forums, you know, trying to get the word on the street and make sure people are happy with the service, and pick up stuff that people want to find on Flipper. So I do that. I do a bit of SEO. I do a bit of AdWords. I'm a bit of a jack of all trades. So yeah.
Talking about SEO, and SEO is one of my strong points, and we've, you know, Ryan and I have been, you can't actually see what Ryan's behind the camera, but there we go. But we've been sort of wondering as well, like we're starting to look at the Flipper Marketplace and how the search engine works on the Flipper Marketplace. Can you give us any insights? Like Ryan made the discovery where we were finding tags weren't nearly as important for coming up in the rankings as one might think. It was all about the placement of the keywords within the body of the auction. I don't know if you've got any nuggets.
It really isn't as sophisticated as you might think. You know, the Flipper search engine really isn't Google. Predominantly it's based on time. So if a listing has a keyword in it, and you do a search on that keyword, what'll come up first is the most recent listings.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, sure, you can probably optimise an auction around a particular keyword if you're trying to attract certain people to your listing, but you certainly can't optimise your position because it's basically time based.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I suppose similar to that, along those same lines, how are people finding auctions on Flipper? I don't know if you have that sort of data. Like we're trying to optimise for searches, but I know a lot of people also look at what's coming up, you know, about to sell, like, and most active. Do you have any idea? Like, how do you think your users are actually finding auctions on Flipper once they're? Yeah,
there's certainly. Look, I don't have any hard and fast data. There's certainly people, and I have actually released these stats before about what we get through Google Analytics that's going through our actual search. We do that from time to time, so I'll certainly in our email newsletters, make sure you sign up to the Flipper email newsletter. From time to time I'll list, okay, well, what are the top search terms that are being used in our search box on Flipper. You know, tags are used, but you know, obviously people can spam tags, so it's not as reliable. But certainly a lot of the traffic that we see going through the site is people just browsing listings. You know, people going to definitely the most active. So yes, getting on the most active area of the site can help your listing as well. So no hard and fast rules. And really it just comes down to if you've got a quality listing, it'll float to the top.
Yeah. It comes down to that quality listing, and this is something I suppose that we're seeing a change in Flipper. In fact, in all buying and selling, as the market's getting more and more educated, the whole startup market where there was this market where people were buying domain names, putting up sexy WordPress templates and then selling them the next day. And there was a viable market there. You're seeing a shift in that. Just interested to get your thoughts and comments on, do you think that market's now died?
I think it's certainly been fairly well talked about in various forums and on certain websites. Even one of the sites that you might have acquired recently, Dave. Yeah, look, I think the honeymoon is over for startup sites. You're not going to get the prices that you were 6 months ago, where you could, you know, register a half-decent domain, put some content up, and sell it for $300 or $400. I think those days are over. You know, buyers are becoming more educated. They want quality. They want traffic. They want ideally revenue and rankings.
I saw this morning you made a post over at SitePoint talking about these, businesses and what makes a real world online business. Can a business be considered a big business if it just drives all of its traffic and its business from Google? Obviously, the way that you asked that question was probably you've got your own opinions. You didn't really offer them in that post, or at least not that I've seen yet. But can you count a business as a business if it's just relying on Google traffic?
I think you can, although I think to make sure that you're not reliant on, it's never good to base a business on relying on basically another, in this case, another traffic source, which is Google. So if you're basing your site predominantly around ranking in search engines, you can get a Google slap, and then what happens to your business? So I think although a business can rely solely on traffic from the search engines, a solid business should look at diversifying where it gets its traffic from, and whether that be in the online world or whether it be in normal real life advertising and marketing.
Yeah, cool. And then lucky last one, we won't keep you out in the cold too much longer. It's, with SitePoint, I suppose Flipper's kind of emerged out of SitePoint.
Yep.
Why? Why was that split happened? And sort of, you guys are still in the same office.
Yeah.
So
it was more about focusing the business model. I believe it was certainly a decision by the founders to. Flipper was initially basically a part of the SitePoint marketplace for buying and selling websites, and it got so big and so popular that the founders decided, well, hey, this looks like it could be a good business to focus on by itself. So it was split out of SitePoint, and which is good. Flipper, although we operate in the same offices, it's its own business. We make our own decisions. And I think it's certainly benefited because of it.
Yeah, cool. Alright, well we might wrap it up there. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're super busy.
Thanks, Dave.
Always a pleasure. And you guys, if you want to head over to flippingawesome.com and make a comment, let us know what you think, and post any other questions, and we'll be sure to follow up with Luke.